Oh, always gotta do this, don't I? I used to be getting kind of handy with it before. But anyway, the game is Clippers. And component-wise, it's kind of your standard, high quality Euro components. You got all these tiles, very nice. They've got a back on them, which is kind of unnecessary because they're, these aren't hidden information or anything. A couple of player aid things, again backed. These guys, I think, are about the right level that you want. There's not a lot of information on them. There's what you need as a reminder. You don't need one per player because the game is actually really, really simple. You just sometimes might want to peek at something and think about it, I guess, the first couple times you play. The little wooden pieces are in this bag. Comes with a bag. There's no reason for the bag other than packaging, and one bag for all the colors doesn't strike me as the optimal solution, but I've got so many of these damn cloth bags coming with Euro games that I'd rather not waste a plastic baggie on each color. And I probably won't be playing this all that much. Not that I dislike it, but it's just the truth of things. A little bag full of coins, great. The coins are not terribly high quality. I'm usually pretty disappointed in these guys. They look like they need they need to be clipped, and it's a pain in the butt to clip plastic. I may take my toenail clippers to them. One of the few things I'll use those for. I'll use them for counters. The map is pretty, but I've already talked about these little circles are kind of hard to see, and when you actually get the little tokens, whoa, on the little circles, I guess this didn't work. Then it doesn't really work there either. This is something I used to do. I'm going to have to hunt these down. I used to always put my tokens back in their little counter thing. Now these were not clipped. These were just punched out, but they don't sit there nicely, it seems. Okay, nothing went down to the floor, it looks like. Well, that's cool. Anyway. Put these somewhere. Yeah, the little tokens, it's hard to pay attention and see where everything is, but you don't have to check all that often. Most of the time you're actually worried about the paths more than anything. It does require a little bit of looking at, a little more than I think I remember either Santa Fe or UP having done so. As to the actual game itself, I love this mechanism, and obviously the designer Alan Moon loves it too because he's put out, a family of games using it. Say it doesn't rival XX or the Winsome Size family, but it's on that same kind of scale where you're just coming up with different game after different game using the same competing over building these track partitions to do something for you, whether it's helping the companies themselves and you're interested in those, or helping the infrastructure. In this one, for example, it's the islands. You want to place your power in the islands, your merchants, whatever they are, for your ports, and then you want to connect up to them. Personally, I love this design, I love the feel, but I always felt, even as much as I liked the play of the games, that there was something missing, that I would have liked to take this a step further in the XX direction. Yeah, I know, some of them have the stock holdings, but what about stock holdings that are worth something based on this? What about the valuation of the stock being an increasing thing? Well, but can you then start implementing selling the stocks, etc.? And is that enough. Is there enough reason to add that complexity or extra mechanism to the game? Because the values are still going to keep climbing as you grow. The only question is, would there be any sense to throwing a stock manipulation side of this? I felt like there should be. I felt like it would make sense, mainly on the speculation side. Stock values would almost never go below the value of the company itself. Why would they do that? But because there's no way to really harm things in these kind of games. Not that this has anything to do with Clippers particular, but I want to talk, because I probably won't get UP or Santa Fe's version, just because I've got something that has this, the root building mechanism. I don't think this, I've already talked about this, I don't think this connects in quite as nice a way as the railroads. I'm not sure why. Mainly because shipping routes aren't fixed, right? You don't have that rail down there that you can't move. And on the other hand, if you take this as a short-term thing, it's not like the companies are making money off these routes anyway. It's just a player mechanism to connect and get the ships to travel to your places. So I guess it's okay. It doesn't seem like it's terribly disassociated, but it does, I don't know, feel a little less to have the fixed routes than it does in, say, a rail game. Maybe there should be cards that allow you to kind of tweak the routes a little bit. That's too much. You're starting to play with and mutate the system again too much, but just looking at that. What's the danger in this? Well, if you have people who want to figure out what the best move is, if they're insisting on doing that, if they're going to be trapped in the analysis paralysis position on a game like this, it's going to make it horrible. And that may be the case with a lot of these games. It's a fast-paced game at its best. It's one where you're slapping pieces down and making your decisions immediately. I mentioned before, though, if you're making those decisions immediately, usually a game should take less time than this. This is listed at an hour on the box. I think it's a little longer than that. I would say it's closer to between 90 minutes and 2 hours. Maybe I'm just, reading this in as because my solo game took longer to figure out and the 2-player game with my wife took longer than I would expect it to play. But I think you'd be hard-pressed to get this in an hour, especially with a newer group. I think it's I think it's going to take a bigger chunk of time. And to me, it just felt like that level of intensity and excitement of placement and of being engaged so much, I don't want to be that engaged for as long as this game is. It's close. It's only a little over what I'd want it to be. It's kind of like Britannia, for the type of game it is a little over what I want it to be. Especially if people are taking a while thinking, if they're not really, really familiar with where everything comes in. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. I don't think I'm going to go running out and grabbing, like I will with the XX games, the different versions of these, because I don't feel like there's enough difference in them. I don't feel like they're investigating something. Although the stocks is definitely, the one where you actually hold stocks in the company is definitely a slightly different feel. But I would not want, say, Santa Fe, which I think is this one's direct predecessor, where you're doing the same kind of thing, saying, I want this town to be hooked up. I want my company to do X well or whatever. It might be different enough that if I can pick up a copy of UP, I probably will. I'd also like one in the rail genre, because I think that would please me more. But how much am I going to get to play it? That's another big question. This isn't something that plays terribly well solitaire. It's not bad. I like the pacing of it, etc. enough that it's okay solitaire, but like most Euro-type games, I think it really is much, much better when you're able to play it in an opposed situation, which is one reason I probably should stay away from these. But this is something I wanted to own, and I got it out of the Tenga bargain bin or whatever, which is really a worthwhile thing to watch. I saw, what the hell was it, Liberté show up there at $25. I think I paid maybe a little less than that, but right around that to get it used a few months ago. So there's apparently piles of product in these Euro-type games that just aren't getting sold, but they're being offered at a high enough price that nobody's going to come down much below the rate that you can end up getting them new if you end up catching, say, the deal of the day at that point. So it's definitely a good idea to keep an eye on those for the games. And I never know, does it mean that I just should not go into that $20 range for things that are relatively new, that are secondhand, or even unused secondhand? What the hell? I might as well be buying, a brand new copy, because I think that there are oversized runs here. And it's not like it used to be where you have to go to KB or whatever and hunt things down. They're just showing up online. It's easy enough to find. Anyway, I would suggest getting at least one of these suckers if anything about it is kind of interesting. I really, really like the way that base mechanism, the extending track, the way you can bone someone who's trying to go in one direction by just shifting them to another. The decisions where you're stuck in a position where neither person wants to blink and make that move, and then somebody takes it and branches it off and takes it somewhere else, and now neither of you win. There's just so many really cool aspects to the way the routes are placed in these games that, there's a harshness to it that I really, really love. And that's just something that I don't think that there are a lot of smaller games that really allow for that kind of deflecting someone's action in a lot of the Euros. In most of them, it's, I'm taking this resource that you wanted. I really like I'm going to wait until you do something, and then I'm going to turn it in my favor and against you. It's just a difference to me. There's something kind of Go-like in that thinking, even though optimally in Go you would be seeing that all along. Optimally in this you would too, and you got to make those choices. It's something you see in the Winsome games a lot. It's this, if he wants to make that move, well, I'll let him because I can get more off of it. I don't know. We'll see. And I would guess some of the same analysis that I've seen with those games where there's, this subtle kind of deal-making being made in the game. Well, certainly you could out-and-out cut deals in this. There's no question with that. And work together. But if you were playing without the speaking, without any table talk, I think this would be a game where you'd see the same kind of subtle deal making being made that is apparently very appealing to some of the Winsome players. Alright, up this goes.